Yo, fam, it's the 13th letter to the cipher. I had to rewatch that joint that I just laid down. I didn't like it. I had to erase it. It was just too long, and I had to tighten it up. But sorry about that, family. Once again, I want to thank you for watching and supporting. And if you like anything that I say in this message, please, by all means, hit the subscribe button. Get it straight to the point. Uh, I want to talk to my Christian family out there about their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, along with their Lord and Jesus Christ Father, whose name is Jehovah, according to the book that you subscribe to. Now, if you have a pen and paper, you can write these down. You can go to Exodus chapter 6, verse 3. You can go to Psalms 83, verse 18. You can go to Isaiah 12, chapter 2, Isaiah 26, 4, Genesis 22, 14, and Judges 6, 24, and Exodus 17, 15. You can go to those chapters and verses in those books, and you can look for yourself and see for yourself that God in that Bible that you're reading name is Jehovah. So why don't you call him Jehovah versus Jesus? But we're going to get to the comparison, and you have to ask yourself one thing: Do you really know what you're doing and what you're actually committing yourself to, and whom you're actually giving power to over you? Okay, now we're going to talk about this God Jehovah. Okay, now Jehovah is the God that was supposedly um, created the heavens and the earth, the stars, the moon, and all of that good stuff. And he needed no help, he needed no partner, and he didn't ask his son at that time. Since you say that his son was always with him, he didn't ask his son at that time to do anything for him. So he did this all by himself. He made the first man by himself, and he needed no partner with that. He did it all by himself because he's all powerful, he's all knowing, he is Jehovah, according to Exodus chapter 6, verse 3, and those other six references that I gave you. And he begins to make himself known as Jehovah, which he said that he was not known unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Although Abraham was at Jehovah Jireh, which is actually a place in the place called Moriah, Moriah. Okay, and that's where he was about to sacrifice his son Isaac, and God, some amazingly, Jehovah, that was unknowingly to him, made a ram appear that took the place of his son. Now, Jehovah also is responsible for giving Moses uh, a mission to destroy Pharaoh. Now, you must remember that Egypt at this time was a thriving civilization, as it has always been. Okay, even Abraham had to go to Egypt, aka the original name Kemet, to go for food. They was actually starving. There was a famine in the land, and all of these people in the surrounding areas had to go to Egypt for food. They had to work. And yes, Pharaoh had slaves, and yes, Pharaoh was black, okay? But Moses, who grew up in Pharaoh's house since he was 2 years old, okay, grew up in his house and learned from that man, ate at that man's table, and lived very well as a prince under that man's house. So Moses has only known Pharaoh to be a father to him. Okay, and all of a sudden he meets this God that's in the bush. Okay, this fiery burning bush, right? He meets him there and he begins to talk to him. I mean, like, really, would you talk to anything that is speaking to you from a burning bush? Would you actually, has that occurred to anybody? But Moses said that he talked to God face to face, like a man talks to his best friend. So, I mean, like, You tell me. I mean, you're not going to tell me that a butcher's going to talk to me, or you can say some type of metaphorically or this and that. Okay, well, and you say, well, no one has seen God, but we're going to get to that in a minute. Someone has seen God. Someone has seen God, and that's in Exodus chapter 15, verse 3, where it says that God, the Lord God, is a man of war. And we just discussed the other day that a lot of the Greek gods are gods of war. And those Norsemen gods are gods of war. And seeing that it is um, obvious that the Europeans gave this book to you, okay, it wouldn't be quite far that maybe that this God of war is one of their gods too. But he's a Jewish God, okay? He's a 13th tribe Khazar God, okay, that really don't care about you because after he sanctioned Egypt, Kemet to be destroyed and plagued by Moses and asked Moses to let his people go. And Pharaoh didn't. He killed his son. He killed the black prince. Okay, this guy killed the black prince. And not only did he kill the black prince, right? When Moses left, when he so-called parted the Red Sea, you know, he said that this Jehovah sanctioned him to take to take by force, this land of Canaan, this land of place of milk and honey. This land of Canaan is Canaan. This is a black people. So that's just outrageous. Now that's just one example. If you think I'm tripping, right? Uh, even even the white Jews took over the Jebusites area. The Jebusites um, were also a Canaanite people who dwelt uh, in a land, Jubas, which is now known as Jerusalem. You have the Amorites. You have the Hittites. The Hittites um, were settled in a place called Anatolia, which is now known as Turkey. But these were black people. Okay, and Jehovah sanctioned your place of blackness to be raped, pillaged, um, torn apart, destroyed. But yet, this is the God that you say that is the Father of your Lord and Savior, because you say that um, Jesus is the Son of God, and according to this book, well, Jehovah is the Father of Jesus, and Jehovah is the reason why you're in your condition. I mean, what kind of fool could you be? And just to be specific upon the date was 1400 BCE. That's when Joshua led uh, the people of the Hebrews into the land of Canaan. Okay, that's what happened with that. Now I'm going to get to Babylon. Okay, I'm going to get to Babylon too, which is also another uh, black-owned place, black inhabited place. Um, Nebuchadnezzar invaded Babylon in 620 BC. Okay, now they made Nimrod to be out this bad guy, but Nimrod really wasn't a bad guy, and you can only find really what happened to Nimrod, not in the Bible, but in the Table of Nations. Check out the Table of Nations. Then you'll find a little more history about Nimrod. Okay, but Nebuchadnezzar took over Babylon, and he was an Assyrian king. He was the king of Babylon, but he was an Assyrian. And after his son Nebuchadnezzar the second, um, who was conquered in 539 BC by Cyrus the Great. Okay, and he was Persian. Okay, um, so yeah, so you think about that real fast. Now, I just gave you a real crash course on what this Jehovah God sanctioned in the Bible to happen to black people. But most importantly, what happened with that? This is the same God that enslaved you. This is the same God that said that you will be among a people, you will be enslaved to a people for 400 years in the land that is not yours. And obviously, he's actually lied because we've been here over 400 years. If you really want to make it real versus literature, if you want to make it real, You see, so this God is actually persecuting you to death. You have no reason why he's pissed off at you. You've really never done anything to him, actually, because you even did not worship Jehovah. Kemetic people had another God. Moses met this dude over here in a bush somewhere. Okay? In a bush somewhere. And then it's going to ask him to supplant his dad legacy. Are you serious? And Moses had to uh, look like one of the black Egyptians because he lived among them. I mean, what was the difference between him if he's black and the people that's enslaved? Were they white? Not according to history. I'm just saying. Don't argue with me, argue with the facts. That's all I'm saying. To all of my Christian family that's out there. This man enslaves you. Now let's get to his son, Jesus, which comes into play inside of this New Testament thing. He really pops on the scene around 325 AD after the Council of Nicaea. I mean, 300 years after the man died, they give you the story of him. Okay, and this is what we get. This is what we get, though. And this, once again, this is by Roman authority. Roman authority gave you this. Roman authority, Jews, 13 tribe, because the Jews actually own the copyright to the Bible that you subscribe to, yet you don't get along with the Jews, but they got the copyrights to the Bible that you say you study. Amazing, right? Amazing. Anyway, moving right along. This Jesus, was supposedly in, according to the story, he was supposed to be in some type of Masonic figure, Messianic, and King Herod was looking for him. King Herod was looking for him to kill him because he was looking for the young baby, the young male who was going to raise up and supplant Roman authority and change society and the way people think, live, act, conduct themselves, and most importantly, think. Okay, so this sounds like a story that happened in Exodus. I mean, really, there's a lot of similar stories in the Bible, if you really read. But anyway, right? Um, so let's see what Jesus did. We already see what Jehovah did for us, right? Well, did for you since you subscribe to it. But now let's see what Jesus does for you. Jesus is born. By the time he's born, right? He's got somebody looking for him already, which is the Roman government. They looking to kill him, okay? Because they know that someone is coming to supplant their evil doings, okay? Now this is a whole new establishment that took place, time difference, hundreds of years later, okay? After this Old Testament that you say that you're not supposed to follow. Okay, but we'll get to that in a minute. But Jesus been on the run since he was a kid, and by the age of 12, he went inside of the synagogue and told the Sadducees and the Pharisees and Sadducees, "Hey, you all are fucking up real bad. You all are. This place is a den of thieves. You all are. This is the marketplace. Y'all got everything going on in here except what is supposed to be going on. Y'all fucking up big time." His mama was looking for him and whatnot, Mary, and ironically, in Rome, they have the Black Madonna and Black Christ. I'm just saying. So think about that while you're thinking about your Serapis Jesus, okay? But anyway, his mother was looking for him, and she asked him where he was at, and he said that he was about his father's business. He was about Jehovah's business. He was about Jehovah's business, okay? Now, keep that in mind, okay? Now, at the age of 12, Jesus and his mama had to go on the run because the Roman authorities were looking for him. And the Pharisees and the Sadducees were looking for him at 12 years old. Okay, so this kid was imbued with something, you would say, right? Now, when he escaped, when his mother escaped with him, what did they escape to? They escaped to Egypt, right? Back to Kemet, the very same place that God destroyed, right? because of this Pharaoh did not want to let his people go, but now he's taking them back to Kemet. Is because he's conquered Kemet now? I don't know. But whatever took place, we know that there's a 21-year gap between the age of 12 and the age of 33 when Jesus appears back on the scene. But anyway, so he um Mary and Jesus goes to Egypt, okay, and he comes back, and let's see what Jesus does. Because so far that's all we know at the age of 12, right? And he comes back in his 30s, and now he baptizes his cousin John, and John just so happens to be the mother of the son of Elizabeth, and Elizabeth happens to have a story almost like Sarah did, if you really looked at it in the book of Genesis. I'm just saying there's a lot of familiar stories. Okay, the book that you worship. Okay, now Jesus hasn't done anything yet except baptize John, and he has brought back a message from Kemet like no other, and the Roman government is not having it. So now he got the cops on his back. Okay, Jesus got the cops on his back. He got the politicians on his back. He got neighborhood watch on his back. Okay, so he got to be very careful. And after he baptizes John, uh, he end up he ends up initiating a couple of guys, really, which is his 12 disciples. He initiates them, and they make their pledges to be like, okay, this is our secret society. We're gonna study this philosophy, this new teaching that you're bringing, which is going to uproot the current system that we're living under. Now, remember, Herod was looking for him while he was 2 years old, but he escaped. Okay, but now he's in his 30s, and Herod has died. Okay, Herod's gone right now, so he's back though. Okay, but now Caesar is in play. Caesar is in play at this time. Okay, now Jesus, this Jehovah's son, he was no punk. Now he was no punk at all, but he brought a serious message which threatened them so bad that, like I said, he was on the run every day, and he didn't have many people at one time, and he always had to run for his life, just like the other prophets of Jehovah. Why is it that all of the prophets of Jehovah got to run? Very, with the exception of maybe Elijah. Okay, he got caught up in a whirlwind or something like that. And they say but Enoch had got caught up in a whirlwind somewhere. So that's two. And I think Elisha, was Elijah's student, got caught up in a whirlwind. Okay, something to that effect. That's three. But all of the rest of his prophets, I tell you, they've been on the line of fire like a motherfucker. And I tell you, damn, why are they so in trouble? Why are they so in trouble fucking with Jehovah? Why are they so much in trouble fucking with Jehovah? And they get killed. But this is the same God that you worship, that enslaved you, that enchained you, that fucked you up. You know what I'm saying? That took all your shit in the Bible, but we're gonna make it real in a minute, okay? Because all this shit in the Bible is really not true, but it's true, depending upon your openness of mind and really your consciousness. But anyway, right, this Jesus guy, right, that we know is fictitious, but we're gonna make him real in a minute, right? With this story, he goes on his business of taking care of his father's business. He baptizes John. He got disciples with him. The cops are on his ass. Um, they ended up slicing some dude ear off and shit. Peter sliced the dude off. Jesus tell him, go get the sword, go get the money, aka purse. Go get the purse so we can go purchase us some swords. We need some arms protection because people fucking with us. They after us because of the message that we bring in. Okay, but at this time, he's got power through word. He got power through. Okay, but yet still he ain't got no army yet, right? He ain't got no army yet. Okay. Now, when they do finally catch up with his ass, right? When they find, oh, I'm sorry. Let's see what else did he do? He spreaded the message. He raised Lazarus from the dead. He turned water into wine, and he got rid of some demons and ran them to a pig or something like that, right? Okay, now we're gonna stop right there. Now, what else did he do? What else did he do? He just kept bringing the message. He just kept bringing the message. He kept just bringing the message. Just kept bringing the message. But what else did he do that made him so great? I mean, what do you even come into play at? I mean, he even told you don't to worship him. He said worship Jehovah. He said worship the Father. He said worship the Father, and the Father is God, and God is Jehovah, right? So why aren't you worshiping Jehovah? I'm just saying. But what has, Jesus versus Jehovah? And I'm going to get to it in a minute. We're almost there. We're almost there. Now, this Jesus guy, when he gets crucified and staked upon this cross, okay, and the Romans like, well, asking the Jews like, well, what do you want us to do with him? Well, he's Jewish and this and that and this and that. So they ended up, they crucified my man. They stuck a spear in him and shit like that. He bleeding, okay, and he couldn't even save himself. His dad didn't even come and save him, Jehovah. Now he said he was taking care of his dad's business, okay, with this new train of thought, and he was very educated. And what I just get out of the story, which anybody should get out of the story if they really look at it for what it is versus being what is told. Okay, that Jesus got set up by his dad. Okay, and his dad left him. Now, if you say that, well, his dad didn't leave him, and on the third day he resurrected. Well, if he resurrected on the third day, well, what happened with all of his disciples? What happened with all of his disciples? Why didn't he come rescue them? They were in prison. Some were beheaded, got their heads chopped off, beaten, starved to death, crucified upside down. None of the disciples' fate was good at all. Not at all. Even John was beheaded. John the Baptist was beheaded. They chopped his fucking head off, okay? And that was Jesus' cousin. Now tell me why Jesus didn't save John. And John was in jail. Why didn't Jehovah save his nephew? Why didn't that God save his own nephew? Now, if he abandons his own nephew and his own son, because Jesus said, oh God, why did thou forsake me? Why hast thou forsaken me? My cup is running over. Help me. Please dial 911. From the looks of it, Jehovah said, fuck you, dude, and left his ass. Same way he left his nephew, fucked up, and the same way he has left you, fucked up. Think about that. This God enchained you, enslaved you, imprisoned you, and then send you some called backup, okay, with some words. With some words, but he left you one word. He left you a couple of things, but most importantly, he left you some instructions. And those instructions was this. He said, follow thy commandments, follow the Father's commandments, follow thy Lord's commandments, follow the 10 commandments. But you say you don't follow the Old Testament. But Jesus told you to follow them because he followed them. But you don't follow them. So who told you don't have to follow them? I'm just saying to my Christian family. Who said that you're not supposed to subscribe to them? If you're fictitious, Jesus said subscribe to them. And if he didn't save his 12 disciples after he got resurrected, what do you think he's going to do for you? When his Father has already enslaved you, his Father has cursed you from day one. So how is he going to overthrow his dad? His dad just sent him on a mission and then left him out there dry to die. What else did Jesus do? What was his school of thought? Like I said, for 21 years, he disappeared. He went to Kemet and learned, I'm sure, some of the Egyptian mysteries. I'm sure he was taught by priests, but he was a man because his father, Jehovah, is a man. But his father happens to be a man of war. So what peace are you going to have? I mean, and he shows you he's a man of war. Not only is he a man of war, he's a slave master because he imprisoned you. And still say, how dare you don't worship me? How silly can you be, black man? How silly can you be, black Christian? I mean, like, for real. Straight up. That's just real talk. I gave you the information, black and white. It's in a crash course version versus what I had just put up there an hour ago or something like that. But you get it straight cut, shortened, and it's just straight to the point. So you answer those questions for me. I mean, you actually worship a white Jewish God whose name is Jehovah, and he's told you how he felt about you. So maybe you'll think about that. And if you liked anything that I've said, or like I say, anything that I said made a light bulb go off in your head, or made you like, subscribe to the button. I would love to get your feedback, what you think, and hopefully you learn something because I'm always trying to give something away. All right, you all. Thanks for tuning in. 13th letter to the cipher. We out. That's it. That's it there. Now, you know what? Also, in addition, I said that I'm going to make this real, so I'm not out. But I'm going to make this real. You, black man, you, black woman, are the Jesus that the Roman Empire is looking for. And I say that because of J. Edgar Hoover. Think about it. He also was looking for the black Messiah figure to destroy him, to prevent the upliftment of black people. And that was the same mission of Jesus. I mean, that's supposed to be the lesson behind it, not supposed to be taken literally. But like I say, only you can save yourself because he didn't even save himself. Okay? You, black man, black woman, is that Jesus. And as you can see, you are still the most wanted in America. Okay? So you think about that. Like I say, press that subscribe button. And if you have any comments, feedback, let me know. It was nice. 13th letter to the cipher. We out. Yeah.